I do a lot of exploring on Google Earth, and sometimes I come across something amazing. It was about 3 months ago when these strange triangle formations caught my eye. I then zoomed in and realized I had found something special. I dubbed them the shark teeth due to their notable shape and stained red color. Last week, I finally got the chance to take a trip to go and visit them. I got to see for myself what they would look like in person and to truly visualize the geology of how they formed. In my exploration of the area, I realized that this landscape holds much more than just beautiful geology, but fascinating ancient history as well, making this a truly remarkable place.
I am now perpendicular with the shark teeth, so I'm gonna cut through this canyon here to go hop on top of them real quick. But before I do that, let me give you some geological context before instead of after, like I've been doing. So the two main definitions that will really help you understand what we're looking at here is flatiron and anticline. So let me explain anticline first. So this is on the Colorado Plateau, and the Colorado Plateau is essentially made up of a bunch of layer cake rock layers. Like they're all flat on top of each other. But the Colorado Plateau went through a lot of compressional forces and there's a lot of faults. And so if you have a bunch of flat layers all stacked on top of each other and you introduce a fault, you can get what we have here, which is an anticline. And an anticline is when those flat layers get kind of put into a little upside down U shape. And now you have this big hill, essentially, and water quickly starts to erode away at those higher layers, which leads to the flatirons. The flatirons are essentially just a product of water going downhill and eroding away a bunch of different channels that eventually form these triangle-shaped formations with the really hard rock layers. Those hard layers up there, which are limestone, are getting eroded like that. So hopefully that makes a little more sense. I'll keep explaining it as I go, but that should give you a kind of foundation of what we're looking at. All right, let's go hike through this canyon. I'm just entering the canyon now, and as I walk through it, I want you guys to pay attention to the rock layers. We can see right here, this is kind of the angle of the uplift that's also present at the shark teeth, because these layers down here are also uplifted. They're just a lot softer. But you can see right here, as we got like a softer mudstone changing to a harder sandstone just right behind me. The layers are going to keep changing as I walk through this canyon, which I'm really excited about. Got a little bird here that keeps calling at me. Morning to you too. So I'm continuing my trek through this canyon to get to the shark teeth, and I just found something that might be just as cool as the shark teeth. So I'm gonna take a minute to look at it. Here we got some of those uplifted layers, but what's crazy about these is they're breaking into such like rectangular brick structures that they look like, well, that they almost look like a man-made wall. You can see it a little bit in this layer, but up over here, it's crazy. Here I am at the one that caught my eye. Yeah, when I first saw it, I was stunned for a second because I thought it was an archaeological wall, like an ancient wall that somebody had built out of, bricks. But it's definitely not an archaeological site. I think what's happening here is, I'm pretty sure this is limestone. And the fun thing about limestone is on geologic maps, it's always marked as bricks. And I think we're seeing why right here, because it just happens to fracture into these bricks. So, a bunch of limestone fracturing into what looks like a wall. It's so cool. This is the sort of thing that I definitely can't see from Google Earth, and that I can only find by just walking around here. You can really see how they looked like bricks to me for a second. If I get up real close, you can just see how it fractures. Oh wow, we can see some bigger chunks here, kind of in that rectangular shape. This one especially. I mean, you could use that as a bench. Practically is a bench. Yeah, this is a great bench. It may not look like much from here, but there they are. I'm about halfway up right now, and you can really start to see the layers and see how the shark teeth are gonna look. Got the clear triangle right there, and I'm hopefully gonna go get to the top of that one and fly the drone. Really does look like a layer cake. Also right here, look at those perfect blocks down there again. This is just amazing. Walking through that canyon was delightful in terms of seeing the geology, and now that I'm up here on top of one of the shark teeth, it's like, this is one of the best views I've ever gotten. Just seeing all these layers, like, I can't really describe it. What's really amazing is just especially the difference in color between this kind of white and red. That's what really makes it amazing. But we can see right here pretty well the big hill I was talking about with the anticline, and now these layers are draped on top of it and they're getting eroded away as the water forms these channels. And somewhere down deep is a fault that caused all this. There's the canyon that I came up, and then this way is just more shark teeth. Really beautiful day. Basically, all of these layers I'm standing on are part of the Honaker Formation, and that formation is composed of limestone. So this is all essentially an ancient seabed and also one giant fossil, because limestone is mainly made of small microorganisms building up on the ocean floor over time. And this formation is about, I think it's Permian in age, so very, very, very old. And now it's getting exposed by this erosion.
I think it's worth noting that these flatirons are by far from the only ones in the West. Flatirons like this can occur any place where layers of rock are steeply tilted by uplift. And of course, in the American West there are many places with extreme uplift, whether it be mountain ranges or faults. So next time you're on a road trip, keep an eye out for triangle-shaped formations, and you may spot some flatirons for yourself. These may be the most impressive ones that I've ever seen, but I think flatirons in general are a super cool geological formation.
This adventure isn't done just yet, because not only is this area incredibly geologically complex and beautiful, it is home to a lot of amazing archaeological history as well, and I want to go take a look at some of that. In doing my research for this video, I learned that there are even archaeological sites on this ridge here that date back, I think it was either 13,000 or 18,000 years. Like, people have been here for a long time. What I'm gonna go see is some much more recent, I think maybe in the past 1,000 years. And I'm super excited to go see that. So let me have a snack real quick and then I'll cut to being over there, because it's gonna be a long walk.
Since the Google Earth imagery in this area is so high quality, I figured it'd be a shame not to use it to show you guys the route I just took to walk up onto the shark teeth. So I started by walking down this wash here, and after about probably 4 miles on this wash, I arrived at the mouth of the canyon where the beginning of the video was filmed. And then I walked through the canyon, as you guys saw, which kind of traced its path through here. It was a little boxed in at first, and then it kind of flattened out, and there was a lot of cool rock layers on the way. And eventually I arrived at the foot of the shark teeth, and I was able to climb onto this one here that kind of has a double white section on the bottom, and I got right up to the tip about here where I got that great view. I think I might start putting in some Google Earth visualization of where I walked, just because I can't have the drone out the entire time I'm walking. So it's fun to go back and see exactly where I was on the imagery.
If you really enjoy my content and you want to see more, definitely consider becoming a member on my Patreon. I just started it up, and I'm going to be posting a lot of behind the scenes content, downloadable photos to use for wallpapers and stuff. Thank you to Muir Hamilton and Gabriel Carcereri. Sorry if I butchered that, but thanks for becoming my first 2 members just last week. So yeah, if you're interested in the Patreon, I'll have the link in the description. Starting to get more traces of ancient history here. You can see some very, very old petroglyphs that are pretty faded. Wow, so look at this, guys. First structure. And this this one is pretty unique. I've never seen something quite like that. You can see that this boulder here fell, making a nice little wedge, and they just built what I assume is a granary right in there. I love it. I love how they're using the landscape. Wow. I am now at the site I knew about. I didn't know about that last one, but I did know about this one. I learned of it when doing my research about the surrounding area around the shark teeth, because I wanted to experience some history, and that there is amazing. There's a big, big pictograph and petroglyph back there of a snake and a spiral. Man, those are some huge constructions. That's awesome. After I learned about this place, I also went and looked on Google Earth just to see if I could see it, and sure enough, it is clear as day on Google Earth, which is crazy. And it's a great example of how wild technology has become, that it's almost imaged perfectly. You can even see the windows and doorways. I'm gonna get out my drone to explore this a little bit better so I can stay off of it and not disturb it. Well, that was awesome. I always love seeing ancient ruins like that, built by the ancestral Puebloans, and it's just so impressive every single time. I mean, that one was particularly large. I'm so glad to have a drone now, so I don't even have to bother about getting close, because you know, you're allowed to go get up and close. You're not supposed to touch the walls, but you're allowed to go get close, and that can still do a lot of damage. So now I can just fly up there and not touch anything. So now I'm continuing my walk, and I knew about that site, and there's one other site that I know about that I really want to see, a very large petroglyph panel. So yeah, I'm excited to go look, and maybe we'll find some other things along the way. Like, while I was talking, just spotted this little petroglyph circle up there. So yeah, I have no idea what I'm gonna see along the way. I'm starting to see a lot of panels already, and I'm noticing that that circle that I just saw is on several of them, so I don't know if that's like a symbol that was very important. There's that symbol again of some anthropomorphs. Oh, that's really awesome. Oh, there's so many. They're really faded. So I think this style right here is similar to what I'm hiking to. This isn't even the big panel yet, by the way. This is just something along the way that I saw on this desert varnish. But I think we're gonna see more of these kind of guys with those weird, I don't know, what, crescents on their head. It's a common thing, at least here. And those are from the basket maker period. So these were made before that structure we saw earlier. That's so cool. I mean, just a very distinct pattern these all have. I wonder what it's supposed to represent, and why this white guy's got a sideways one. See, there's lots of other stuff. Some sheep, a spiral, some cowboy glyphs. Those are very old. Become varnish again. And then over here, another guy with the little crescents on his head. And then over here we got some more cowboy vandalism from 1933. I think it's so cool that archaeologists have kind of segmented the ancient ones into different distinct cultures that, like, even over pretty vast areas, you can see similar art styles and building styles. And so just earlier we saw the cliff houses of the ancestral Puebloans, and then now we're seeing a very clear style of the basket maker. I can't even begin to show them all, but there are so many petroglyphs on this wall. There's another big guy with crescents. And it's crazy to me because this is like a common thing. I was just a couple of days ago recording a video where I found two different barrier canyon style panels, like pretty far apart from each other, and yet they looked so similar. And you know, more than likely they were created by different individuals. And that's the same thing here. I've made it to the site I wanted to visit, and it is breathtaking. This is probably the largest petroglyph panel I've ever seen. It's very intricate as well, so let's go take a closer look. It's right up here on this massive wall of desert varnish, and there are just probably at least 30 or 40 anthropomorphs on this section alone. All right, I'll do my best to pan slowly because there's a lot to look at. But as we can see, there's a bunch more of those similarly shaped figures with that same kind of crescent shape on their head. Except here, there's a couple that have flat lines above them as well. And they're pretty big. I would estimate that those are like, the biggest ones have to be about 3 feet tall. Each one of the large figures has something else inside of it. They each have their own kind of insignia. One seems to have an animal, one has several stripes, one has a snake maybe, there's an X. So here is the next main panel. And funnily enough, we can see a lot of those same like keyhole shapes that I saw earlier. I don't know what that symbol meant, but it was clearly important. And just looking, I can see that these figures just continue down this wall. There's so many. This must have been a very, very important place for a lot of people. So I'm about 100 meters from the last spot, and this has just continued at about this density this entire time. And you can see there's hundreds and hundreds of them. That was stunning, and I really can't fathom how many people or how much time it took to make all of those. There has to be so many stories and so much important information written along this wall, and we'll never know those stories, or what's being told on this wall, and all we can do is speculate. But well, that was an amazing adventure. Thanks for joining me. That was some of the best geology and some of the best ancient history I've ever seen. And yeah, gonna walk back now and just reminisce a little bit. So if you're interested in checking out some more of my adventures, click the links here. And if you're interested in Patreon, that will be in the description. And thank you to my Patreon members. I'll see you guys in the next one.